Hello and welcome back. In our last video we went in and set up a custom character for us to use. I set up Cabaltic. However, if you did not set up a custom character, you can use the default brown pants that comes with the Orc framework demo. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to go in and set up an event to spawn our player. So come over to events, and under game events you can click new game event, and you'll have a visual node editor over here that we're going to be using. So if you right click on the little red square, we'll go to add. It'll come down to active group steps and join active group. Now what we want to do here is we want to select our combatant. So I set up mine as Cabaltic, so I'm going to select that one. Then we want to come back up to the join active group and right click on that red square and click add, and we want to go to spawn steps and spawn player. Now at this point we can go ahead and control where we're going to spawn at. So we can select a spawn point, a position, or an object. We want to leave it as a spawn point, and the spawn point ID is going to be the ID that's used in our level to determine where we spawn at. So for right now we're going to leave this as 0. So we want to go ahead and save our event. So I'm going to save it under my core custom. I got a folder set up for events, and I'm going to name this COR start. Click save and go back to our level. Now somewhere in your level, wherever you want to add in a spawn point. So what you're going to do, go to window and select the Orc scene wizard. I have mine docked down here, and we want to create an object, and the object is a spawn point. Now I'm not going to actually do this because I already have a spawn point in. As you can see, I have spawn point 0 and I also have spawn point 1. Spawn point 1 will be used later when we do our scene changes. So for right now, you want to make sure that you get a spawn in and it says spawn point 0. So go ahead and click that, move it around in your level to where you want it. Then once you get it set, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your spawn ID over here is 0. Just because the name of your spawn point is 0 doesn't mean that that's going to be the correct spawn from the event script. It's going to be looking here at the spawn ID, so you want to make sure that this is set to 0. You could come over here and name this anything that you want. Now, there are two ways that you can go ahead and do the spawn. The one is the cheap and dirty way, which I'll show you really quick. You go back to the Orc framework and you go to the menu, you go to main menu. Alright, so you pick the new game scene. This is the scene that you just placed your spawn point in. So I placed it in my scene of Maven, and then you click here and you want to pick the event that we just made. So I made City of Relics start. Do your save settings. Do you confirm? And now we need to go to our main menu. Save changes, yes. Now when we click play, we'll get our menu, and our character will spawn in. Now that's the, like I said, the quick and dirty way, and we don't want to use that for our actual game. So if you just want to do some testing purposes, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm going to come back in here and I'm actually going to move this back to none. So that way at this point now, when I come back in here and run this again, I should not be spawning. And as you can see, I'm not at my spawn point and there's nothing there. So now what I want to do is I want to actually come in here and add it in the correct way. So I'm going to go back to my scene. And I want to come up here and I want to do a right click and create empty. And I'm going to name this player start. Now what I want to do is I want to go back to my Orc scene wizard. I want to hit cancel because I want to add a component. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add an event interaction. I made sure I had player start selected when I added it in. So as you can see over here, we have the event action now added, and we want to click our event asset, add in our core start. We're going to hit OK. Now we're going to have our choice of selection. We're going to go to start type, and we're going to change this to auto start, so it starts as soon as we come in. And now what we want to do is we want to set up some variable settings. And what this is going to do is it's going to register when the player comes in and if the player has come in. So we want to come down to our variable conditions, and we'll do an add game variable. Our condition type is variable. Value type is value, and our value that we want to use, we'll just use something called player added. The is valid, we want to disable that setting, and we want to select our type here to bool. So now we'll come to the set after event, and we'll click add game variable there. And again, we're going to use the same player added. We want make sure the remove is not checked. We want to come down here and select bool again. And we want to click enable our value. So now at this point, we should have everything set up so we can spawn in again. So we'll go back to our main menu, make sure we click save, and we'll see if everything is set up correctly, and we should spawn right in with our character. So as you can see, our character is now spawned in, and now the program is handling it correctly and updating those variables to make sure that everything is handled correctly. So that'll be the end of this video. That should get you through to the proper way of creating a spawn point inside of the Orc framework. In our next video, we're going to go ahead and make the adjustments on our player so that way the controller is set to the correct levels, or our character is actually running on the ground.